So this guy is about to unalive his own wife, and unfortunately he's gonna get away with it. His name is Colin. He's a dentist and a devoted Christian. But one day at a church activity, he met this woman. Her name is Hazel. He became attracted to Hazel, and also Hazel became attracted to him. So they hit it off, and pretty soon they are in a relationship. But here's the problem. Hazel is married with a bunch of kids, and Colin is married also with kids. Regardless, they secretly keep their affair going. And this goes on for a few months, then they get busted. Someone from the local church that they attend was in a park, and he catches them in the act, and then he reports them to the pastor. The pastor goes ahead to report to their different spouses, and this blows their whole affair wide open. And so Colin and Hazel each have to go to their respective spouses and confess that they are having an affair. Colin's wife is absolutely devastated by this news, and she can't handle it. At a point, she took some pills to unalive herself, and she left a suicide note for Colin. But lucky for her, she survives. So the suicide note she left for Colin gave Colin an idea on how to solve his problem, because he really wants to be with Hazel. And upon all these problems and trauma he's causing his spouse, he has continued with that relationship. Colin and Hazel decided that divorce is not an option, because they can easily divorce their spouses and then they be together. But they decided to go a different route. They came up with a plan that they are going to unalive each other's spouses so that they can be together. So they are too religious for divorce, but not too religious for murder. Okay. So one night, Colin's wife was sleeping in the living room on the couch. And you know, it's not surprising since both of them are having problems. She left the bedroom and came to the sitting room, and she is sleeping on the couch. And then Colin sneaks into the garage and attached a hose to the exhaust pipe of his car while the car was running, and he brought the hose to the place that his wife is sleeping in the sitting room. He holds the hose that he attached from that car near his wife's face, trying to poison her with carbon monoxide by trying to get her to inhale the fumes from the running car. She does breathe in these fumes, but she did not die immediately. Instead, she wakes up with her eyes wide open, and she realized that she cannot breathe very well. Like, she can't breathe freely. She started struggling, and Colin covered her with a quilt and also stick the hose in there. She kept on struggling until she couldn't make it. When Colin noticed that she has taken her last breath, she carries her body and put her in the trunk of his car and started driving towards Hazel's house. Meanwhile, in Hazel's house, she is completing her own part of the plan. She puts in some sedatives in the husband's drink. He drinks it and he passes out. He is fast asleep on the couch. Then Colin arrives, and he does the same thing he did to his wife. He attached the hose to the exhaust pipe of his car while he's running, and he crept into the sitting room where Hazel's husband was fast asleep. And he keeps the hose near the husband's face so that the husband can inhale the carbon monoxide and then become unalive. He wakes up, but because of the drink that his wife has already given him before now, he was weak. He couldn't fight. Colin held him down until he kept on inhaling that fume till he became unalive. Then Colin put his own body too into the trunk of his car. Now he has two bodies in the trunk of his car, and he drives to another relative's house and parks at the relative's garage. Then he brings Hazel's husband's body and puts him in the front seat at the driver's side, and then put his own wife's body at the back seat. And he puts the same hose at the exhaust pipe of the car, leaving the car running, and then he puts the hose in the window of that car, making it look as if the two of them purposely did that to inhale the fume and then, commit suicide. Then he calls the police, and the police came. They checked out the crime scene, and they believed that it's a double suicide. Okay? They believed it. The medical examiner examines the body and rules that it's double suicide. So Colin and Hazel straight up gets away with this crime. Colin makes a huge amount of money from his wife's death. He made £300,000 from her will. He also made a huge amount of money from life insurance policy. He also made a huge amount of money from his late father-in-law's estate. So him and Hazel took all this money and they started living happily ever after. But unfortunately for them, 5 years later, their relationship fizzles out and they end up splitting up. Then Colin moves on and remarries, and of course Hazel moves also and remarries, and it's as if they have gotten away with this murder. Until about 16 years later, Colin's life starts falling apart. His 22-year-old son died like suddenly, and this devastates Colin. As if that was not enough, he falls for some get-rich-quick scam. Some guy in Philippines scams him and takes about £350,000, his life savings, from him. So all that money he made from his wife's death, he loses all of them and he falls into debt. So now he's depressed and broke. Keep in mind he's a religious person, so he sees all this bad luck as some kind of sign that his God is punishing him for all the bad things he has done in his life, specifically punishing him for unaliving his wife and for unaliving Hazel's husband years ago. He starts thinking that it will help if he confesses. So he calls some elders of his church to come to his house, and he sits them down and starts confessing what he has done years ago. Maybe he thinks they will pray for him and forgive him his sins. During this gathering, Colin confesses a lot of things to the elders. He confesses to his new wife that he has been having affairs even while they are married. He confessed that sometimes he used to SA some of his patients on his dental chair. And finally, he confessed to unaliving his wife and Hazel's husband. The church elders hear this and said prayers are not going to fix this one. And therefore, they called the police. And Colin confesses to the police and they arrest him. And he ends up snitching on Hazel too, and they arrest Hazel also. She gets sentenced to 18 years in prison, while Colin gets sentenced to 26 years in prison.